The connection with TM and yogic flying to martial arts has always been a fascinating topic to me. TM, of course, allows the mind to settle down deeply and to actually transcend thought. So what you're having is an experience of restful alertness, of pure awareness inside, and that's something that's beyond the mind. So when you come into activity having meditated, you've released stress, naturally you're more clear, you're more conscious, you're more self-aware, and self-awareness is a huge part of martial arts. So the training that you go through in martial arts teaches you just that, to be self-aware, and on the basis of that, to refine your technique. So the connection really then is what you cultivate through seated meditation, you integrate through martial arts. So in seated meditation, you experience deep silence, and through martial arts, you learn to act from that silence. And in Aikido, especially, to blend with other people's energy instead of fighting with them. So by being self-aware and more conscious, we're able more easily to retain that silence from meditation, and on the basis of that silence, that ease, that effortlessness, techniques are performed effortlessly. That's the flow state experience. So really, consciousness is the basis of it all, and the martial arts movements on that basis create that pure, beautiful technique, that flow state experience where it's just happening all together. So really, those form the outward and inward aspects of my spiritual practice. First, calming the mind and body, releasing all the stress, experiencing the deep silence, the witnessing consciousness beyond your mind, and then integrating that in activity through martial arts training. So Maharishi says, the founder of TM says that victory before war. So what does that mean? Well, in Aikido as well, same statement, that true victory is victory over oneself. So to control someone without inflicting injury, that's the way of peace in a martial art. Now, what does TM have to do with this? Well, it is a fascinating thing, but what does that mean, self-victory? I think when we transcend through TM, what's happening is not just stress release in the sense of biological stress is being released, but stress in the body, but stress is also, it's psychosomatic, it's something in the mind. Stress is our mind's reaction to everything that's going on around us, all the judgments, resistance, reactions, all of these things. So when we're releasing that stress, it's not just, oh yeah, we're brighter and we're happier, but suddenly it's as if the problems aren't there anymore. And through changing ourselves, we begin to change the world. And with TM, this happens effortlessly. Because where in martial arts, you train very hard to do this, and that's an important part for me, personally. But with TM, it supports my goals effortlessly, in that the stress just isn't there in the first place to be triggered. It's true, I have been very focused my whole life on something or other, and there is an element of self-discipline there that allows me to persevere, to train for long hours, to practice the piano for long hours, and it is, like you say, that element of focus. And the thing is self-discipline's a habit. It's something you cultivate. And it's not easy for anyone at first, but it's as much as it's a downward spiral, it's also an upward spiral. And so the deepest habit that's been cultivated for me since I was very young is that habit of transcending. And through the very process of meditating, the very mechanics of meditating, what you're doing is you're creating that habit, that self-discipline almost, of consciousness, developing pure consciousness. So rather than remaining identified with the mind and getting lost in the mind, you're always developing consciousness. And when you develop consciousness and you come away from the mind and you're still inside, then you can re-engage the mind from a more powerful place inside. And that, to have the energy to sit there and play the piano 6 hours a day, or to train for long hours either in Aikido or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is competitive, so to have a lot of energy, and you have to be very technical and very alert in your mind to learn all the different variations. So definitely it's been a key role for me. I did a long stint as a live-in apprentice in Aikido, and it saved my life because I'm up at 5 every morning cleaning, I'm running the school, I'm doing kids classes, and it was a burnout and not normally in accord with the TM routine. But what I'd say is that having TM and the TM City program there for me allowed me, whenever I needed that deep rest, that boost, because I was so worn thin, it was there for me. And so very much it's been pivotal in me being able to continue with any amount of energy left over, into the rest of my day, aside from my training and my practice. So the value of transcendental meditation for artists, it's a very important point, is that if you are just in repetition, you're kind of unconsciously going through the motions as an artist, then you're not creating art. You're a machine, and machines can play the piano and machines can create art, but the human element of consciousness is what imbues art with a sense of greatness, a sense of mastery, a sense of achievement that is a unique creative expression. So the more you meditate, the more you transcend, the more you can bring that consciousness into what you're creating. And it's not about just going through the motions. It's about, like, every martial art is a way. The last character, Aikido, Karate Do, Judo, means the way. And it's a way, it's a path of self-development. So again, the physical takes you beyond the physical. And it's also the way you do it. And what alters the way you do something? Your own consciousness. So by transcending, getting in touch with that deep reservoir of creative intelligence and energy beyond your mind, then when you come into practice, yes, if you're mindlessly repeating, you're not much better than a machine. Certainly, if you keep practicing, you'll develop technical ability, but there's a difference between playing notes and the spaces between the notes. That's where the art resides. That's what the famous pianist Arthur Schnabel said. So the space between the notes is where your consciousness comes through. And that's the flow of consciousness coming through. And so, again, by meditating, that's what's happening. It's the way you play the piano is changing. What you bring to your artistry is changing. And then that becomes a habit, a new habit. So you're playing more and more consciously, with more consciousness, more expressive, more beautiful, more powerful, whatever it is.
Beautiful.
Well, having grown up with TM, what I value now, because I'm doing so many different things, is to be able to be in many different worlds. And no matter which world I'm in, I'm talking to people about art and classical piano and the value of music and art in society, or I'm with someone who does Aikido, which is a very spiritual martial art, or I'm boxing and wrestling with someone and they've never heard of meditation. No matter what the type of person is, I can find a way to connect with them about TM. And the message is that seeing what each person is seeking, that's the same, no matter what it is. And there are universal principles with each sport, with each art, that are always present. And to connect with someone on that level and point them to something higher is to kind of let them know what it is they're really doing it for, to inquire into that. So why are you really boxing? Why are you playing the piano? And when you start getting down to it, it starts to be very deep. And the more you inquire, the deeper it goes. What's the reason? You kind of ask them, well, if that, then what? If that, then what? It's like peeling away the layers of an onion. And suddenly they'll get down to something deeper. And whether that's a sense of happiness or bliss, or a sense of fulfillment or connection, or with the universe, or with their family and friends, or a sense of purpose, that's where the TM starts to play in. So then, just rather than what I did receive from Maharishi University, what I did not receive was 4 years of stressing out and writing 6 different papers at the same time, and really just burning out. And at the end of it, receiving a diploma and feeling like, I'd gotten some information, but I hadn't really developed as a whole human being. So then, to further answer, what I did get was definitely holistic development, that the whole physiology, the whole person, the whole mind, the whole spirit, everything's honored. So in a supportive environment that's restful, allows you to focus deeply into one thing, allows you to be around like-minded people who are also meditating, allows each discipline that you're studying to be connected with that higher purpose, to be spiritually integrated. So you're not just studying business, because as we know, business in and of itself can often be destructive or disconnected from any kind of moral imperative. So every discipline is instilled with that knowledge of consciousness, with the purpose of meditation, which is the development of higher states of consciousness, evolution, fulfillment. So you're really checking in on all those levels and defining fulfillment on that basis.